welcome to our October webinar, Make the Move to Paperless Processes and Digital Storage with Easy-to-Use Document Management Software. My name is Nicole Schmeida. I'm the Marketing Specialist at DocuWare, and I'll be moderating today's session. The webinar today will be presented by Robin Horner, Inside Sales Director and Document Management Expert here at DocuWare. At the first 5 minutes, Robin will go over how DocuWare helps you set a new pace and productivity for your organization. Then he'll go into a live DocuWare demo so you can see the solution in action to see how easy it is to use to store both your paper and digital documents, and how you, on top of storing them, can route them throughout your organization. And then at the end, we'll open up for Q&A. With that, now I'll pass it off to Robin.
Thank you, Nicole. My name is Robin Horner, and today I'm going to discuss some of the DocuWare how DocuWare fundamentally shifts your business into a new pace of productivity and execution. We're going to move from disorganized, scattered information to one where documents and data are available at the points of decision. We're going to automate redundant, tedious tasks for your team to accomplish more and focus on projects that matter. We're going to address security across the board and how it can be improved. Compliance mandates like HIPAA and GDPR are addressed with ease. And finally, enough with the heavy, complex software. Use technology on your device of choice and experience built to get this stuff done. Here's a quick overview of the DocuWare solution interface, which I'm going to show you in a minute. With DocuWare, you can access the documents you need anytime, anywhere. Keep working on your tasks from home or on the road, and all you need is the browser of your choice and an internet connection to log into DocuWare. DocuWare improves any workflow in any department and in any industry. For example, in the accounting department, invoice processing, accounts receivable, contract management, and logistics, proof of delivery, shipping documents, customer documents, legal, contract management, compliance, records management, controlling, planning, record keeping, audit preparation, and much more. As you can see by the slide here, there is a lot more areas that DocuWare can be used on, and anything else that you come up with that manages documents or paper. DocuWare can help you improve the managing of these documents and any workflow involved with these documents at any time. So let's get started with the demo. And let me just open this up here. So what you're seeing on your screen is the DocuWare interface. And as I mentioned before, the DocuWare interface is web-based. So whether you're using any type of browser or a mobile device, you can access your documents at any time. So I'm going to give you a brief overview of the interface. Over here on the left-hand side is a document tray. A document tray is the same thing as a plastic tray on your desk. When you bring documents in, and I'll bring in some sample files, this is just one of the ways we can get documents into DocuWare, is simply go out to our Windows Explorer and drag and drop them in. You can also simply click on the import and browse out to a particular folder and pull documents in it as well. So once they're in the document tray, they're available for you to process and start working on. If you want to view a document, you double click on it and it opens up in the viewer on the right hand side. Down the center are toolbars that you can use, such as the ability to print, email a document, change the display of a document, and you can add annotations. For example, if I wanted to do a redaction, I can click on the redaction button, select the color I want, and I usually use white when I do redaction. You can just draw a box around the information. Now, once that annotation is placed on the document can be emailed or printed with or without that annotation. So if you need to print that out with the information blocked or send it to somebody, you can do an annotation, send it out with the annotation, and they would not be able to see the information behind that annotation. I'm going to close this down. Not going to save those changes. Now, This is where we store our documents. When we click on Store, we have different file cabinets available to us. And then within each file cabinet is specific index information. Now this index information is configurable. You can add as many fields as you want. They can be date, text, numeric, whatever type of field you want, and you can control what can go into it. So before we start to store this document, we're going to take this particular document and make it the first page of our document, and we're going to clip all these together because all of these documents belong to one single transaction. And we do not want to store each document individually and have to index it the same way. So we're going to go ahead and clip these together. So now when we store this document, we'll just click on our Store button, select our file cabinet, and you can see all of the index information is in the document. Now I'm going to take this due date out, and we're just going to put in the date that's on the document, 10/17/2012, and any of the other index information that we want to add to this. For example, let's say the intelligent indexing, which I'll discuss in a little bit later with more different types of documents, but let's say that the intelligent indexing didn't get the company name that this letter was addressed to. So if I have to do any manual indexing, I can just highlight it. And DocuWare will put that information into the appropriate field that you have selected. If you want to, for example, this is a proposal out, but let's say it didn't put that in there. If we have to select something, we can use a select list. Now, this select list can be controlled so that only certain entries can be entered, so you can have consistency. Instead of just having this as a proposal, we want it to be a proposal out because it's a proposal that we're sending in. If we get a proposal for purchases that we're making, we would call that a proposal in. So however you want to set that up, that's all configurable, and it really depends on what you want to do. Now, as far as dates, again, I can take the date off the document, which the intelligent indexing did automatically, or I can use the handy calendar picker to pick a specific date, let's say 10/31, or I can go ahead and just hit my X key and it will put in the current system date. So we're going to go ahead and store that document. Now let's go back and do a search on that document. So now I want to find that document. I just go in here and start typing, flying, and there's the entry that I put in there. Now we know that this document type was a proposal out, so we're going to go ahead and click on search, and there's the document we just stored. I narrowed my search down, and I'll go back and do that again by putting in the proposal out. As you notice, when I clicked on the drop down here, there are four types of documents for this particular company, but I want to see a specific document. So I say I want to see the proposal out. Click on search, and again, there is my document. I can open it up, I can print it, email it, I can do my redactions, whatever I have to do. Now, the rest of the tabs up here at the top in the interface are for lists, which are predefined, which we'll show you in a little bit. And we also have specific tasks that we would run through, and also folders for different types of searches. So we're going to go ahead and store that document. We've already stored it, so let's go ahead and address some of the other ways of getting documents into DocuWare. So one of the other ways of doing it is to scan documents. So let's go ahead and scan some documents. We're going to click on our scan button. Now, when the scanner interface opens up, you would select the scanner that you have configured, and you can configure different types of scanners here. So we've called this scanner, let's say it's a Kodak Alaris, but we called it Barcode Intelligent Indexing. That's the name we gave it. We could give it any type of name we want. And then this is the processing configuration. How is DocuWare going to process these documents? So we just select these two configurations and click on Scan. Now this is going to go ahead and scan these documents, and you notice that we've placed a barcode on the first page of each document. Well, that barcode is used to separate these documents. So even though I've scanned 6 pages, I'm going to end up with 4 documents in my document tray. We'll give it a second here to process those, and there's the 4 documents. Now you notice here is the intelligent indexing. The intelligent indexing has processed these documents and extracted all of the index information. If it was the first time I had seen a document, the bar would be red. And I'll just go ahead and import another quick file here so you can see how that would be red. So let's go ahead and get a document here, one that hasn't been brought into the system before. So there's one that's going to turn probably red or yellow. So that means it has seen it somewhat before, but it's not 100% confident. So I would have to do some training on that. So when I go to my store dialog to store that, it didn't pick up the company name. It did pick up the document type because it recognized it as an incoming invoice. It didn't pick up the document number, but we did get the date. So we're going to go ahead and we enter the amount. So we have a net amount, we have a tax amount, and then we have the gross amount, which was automatically picked up by the system. Then we can go ahead and store that document. So that's another way of getting documents into DocuWare. So far we've covered the ability to import files from your file system, scan documents. Now I'm going to switch users real quick, and I'm going to go over and show you another way of getting documents into DocuWare that is more practical in the everyday business of all your users, no matter what department they're in. And that would be getting documents in from email. Just give it a second. So here we have Microsoft Connect, or Microsoft Outlook, standard Outlook interface. And you can see here we have a DocuWare tab. We have store configurations that we can use, and we also have search configurations that we can use. We also have the same buttons here for in the quick menu. So if I want to take this email and open it up, I want to look at this drawing, this attachment. Well, Outlook doesn't know how to do that, so let's take that and store it in DocuWare. DocuWare makes it very easy. I simply select which configuration I want to use. I want to move the attachment, which is going to take the email and the attachment, store it in DocuWare, but it's going to strip the attachment out of the email that's left in Outlook to free up your Exchange server. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Store. And when I do that, the DocuWare Store dialog is going to open up so I can enter additional information if I require. So right now, the only thing that's missing is a project number. I want to enter the project number. I've done business with this customer before. We've been working on this project. We've already assigned a number to it. We're going to go ahead and select that for this document. Down here at the bottom, I can store the email and show the email first when I retrieve it from DocuWare. I can just store the attachment. I can store the email and the attachment and show the attachment first, or I can just store the email. So I have additional options that I can select, even though the configuration is set up in one specific fashion. I'm going to go ahead and click on Email and Attachment, Show Attachment first, and I'm going to store it. So that document is now stored in DocuWare. Now, let's say I wanted to see the attachment. Very easy. I just click on my quick search, select the attachment, and DocuWare will go out to DocuWare, and based on the email address of the sender of the email that's left in Outlook, it'll find that email in DocuWare. And when I open it up, it will display the attachment first, which is the most important thing. Because I have the email here. I could open the email and look at it side by side, or I can do the same thing in DocuWare. But then I want to see, let's say I'm not the person that stored it and does not have the original email. I want to see the email. Well, there it is, page 2. But the main thing is I want to see the drawing. So very easily, I can pull that document out of DocuWare right from Outlook. I don't have to leave Outlook to store my emails. so that they're accessible to other people that need to see them. I no longer have to forward emails or anything like that. I can just go ahead and store them right from DocuWare. Now, here's another one that's very easy to do. This time I'm going to right mouse click, I'm going to store, I'm going to move the mail. So again, I have my indexing screen, so I want to open the email because I want to get the appropriate information to store this document. I want to copy the company name, and I want to paste that into DocuWare, and I want to copy the contact from the email. And I'll put that in DocuWare too. So there, I have all that information stored. I'm going to go ahead and store it. Now again, just like before, I get another email from the same person. I want to see that previous email I stored. So this time I click on the same sender. And there's the previous email I just stored. So I can look at it, review it, and know how I want to address the second one. So the second one I store, I'm going to go store DocuWare, and again, I'm going to move the mail. This time, the company name and contact are already filled in. So I don't have to worry about that because we did a lookup based upon the email address, and then we grabbed the company and contact from the previous stored email. So I go ahead and store it. So that's another way of getting documents into DocuWare. Now, let's go back over to our accounting department and show you some of the fancy features that DocuWare has for handling accounts payable documents. Give it a second here. There we go. Okay, so here we have 4 documents that we brought in. Our intelligent indexing has indexed those documents, so we don't have to worry about anything. All we have to do is select the documents that we want. And I'm only going to do 2, and we're going to store them. So you can see, again, all of the information has been completed. And as I click on each field, it highlights it on the document where it picked that up so we can verify that that information is, in fact, correct. So I'm going to go ahead and store that. But I'm going to make a change to this real quick. I'm just going to put in a different date so we can show you a different process later on. There. So I'm going to go ahead and store that document in DocuWare, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the next one. Now, what happens when those documents get stored in DocuWare is they automatically enter a workflow. So in the workflow, we have a couple of different options. Since this one was put into the workflow and it actually found a matching purchase order, it goes directly to pay, so it doesn't have to be approved. So let's go ahead and look at this one. This one does not have a purchase order, and we're going to go ahead and enter some information on it. We're going to put in a line item. We're going to assign a GL account, and we'll just call this office expenses. And then we're going to go over here and select the department manager that has to approve this, and then the amount of the invoice and the department manager. And then we confirm that. So that document is now stored in DocuWare and moved on to the appropriate user. So now if I go over to that user, he will have a couple of things that have happened to him. One is he has a email that has come in, and he can simply look at the email, click on the link in the email, and click on Windows account and log in. Now this is going to log him in to DocuWare. He'll see that document, and then he can go ahead and do his processing of that invoice. And my machine just slowed down. Let's try that again. Give it a second here. I'm running on a VM, and it is a little slow. So there's the document. He can see all of the general ledger accounting information that was added to it. He says this is correct, but he wants to do one thing first. He wants to put a legal hold on this document so when it gets into the retention scheduling, it does not get deleted because he wants to hold that document. So he places a legal hold on the document and then he confirms the document. So now that document is not going to be addressed by the retention schedule because there's a legal hold on it. Now, let's go back over to our accounting department and see what's transpired there. So here is the document back here. It's back here for her to pay the invoice, and she's going to go ahead and pay that invoice. So she just clicks on confirm, and the document is paid. This one still has to be assigned. We're going to skip that one for now. But what's happened is that document was scheduled for deletion for today. And there's actually another document that is in there that was scheduled. So right now, this document shows as a list to be with the retention schedule, come over here, due for today. So that is a document that could be deleted based upon the retention schedule. This simply shows the documents for review. And so now we know we can review that document and delete it. So the DocuWare automatically will set the retention schedules based upon your company policies for the different document types, and it can notify the records manager or the responsible person that that document is due for deletion. Generally, what happens is it goes to the records manager or goes to the responsible person who approves it for deletion, and then the records manager would confirm that it can be actually deleted. If it can't be, you simply put a legal hold on it, and the document would be kept forever. So let's switch over to our HR department and show you a little bit about the security features of DocuWare. So in DocuWare, we have very tight security. You can control access, including viewing, right down to the document level. So as the HR manager, I can go in to the HR file cabinet and I can search on any document that's in there. So I can see all of the records for all of the employees in the company. Now, if I go over to a specific employee, let's go over to Peter Sanders. And I'll do the exact same search as Peter Sanders. And you'll see that we can control what an individual user can see. So now if I go into DocuWare and do the exact same search in my HR cabinet, I only see my own records. So we can control what a user can see. Now, while I'm over here in Peter Sanders, I want to show you one more way of getting documents into DocuWare that I forgot to do. If you're working from any application, whether it be Word, your accounting program, your CRM program, whatever the program is, and you want to store documents, typically today you would print them out to a printer, maybe scan them back in. Well, with DocuWare, you don't have to print them out to a printer. You can actually print them directly to the DocuWare printer. So I just select the DocuWare printer and click on print. Now what's going to happen is that document is going to go into DocuWare as a PDF, even though it started off as a Word document. It's going to go into DocuWare as a PDF. It's going to be completely indexed. And we're also going to launch an outgoing email. So if I need to send that to a person, I can simply pick up the email address that was on the document, put in a subject, here's the attachment of the document, and I can type my letter. And I go ahead and click on send. So that document is now sent. Now, if I want to store that document in DocuWare as the original Word document, So let's say we're doing version control and we want to be able to make changes to it as the document progresses through a workflow. Then what I would do is go through and do a save as. I'm going to click on browse, and I'll go down here to the DocuWare folder in my Windows Explorer, and I just select which category I want to put it in. I want to put it under companies. So it was for Flying Tom Germany. It was for this particular project. It was an offer out, and I click on store. Now, I do have to enter some additional information because that's the way I have it configured. I want to put in the contact name. I want to put in the document date, and I want to put in the contact email address. And I can just click on store. So that document is now stored in DocuWare as an original Word document. So now if I go back into DocuWare and I'll do a search in that particular file cabinet for Flying Tom, and we know the document type was a proposal, or actually in this particular case it was an offer out. I click on search. There's my two documents. There's my PDF, and there's my Word document. And if I want to make changes to my Word document, I just simply right mouse click on edit. It'll open it up in Word. Now, the ability to do this is controlled by security. This particular user does have the security rights to do that. So I click on save, and then I close it down. And DocuWare is automatically going to create a new version of that document. And now if I refresh this, you'll see that I can go ahead and click on version overview. I see a version 1 and a version 2. Version 2 is the revised one. Version 1 is not revised. And that, again, to see older versions is a security feature that DocuWare can allow or deny a specific user. So that kind of wraps up my presentation. What I'd like to do now is go back to the PowerPoint. And let's go ahead and launch this. And I'm going to turn it back over to Nicole so she can finish up the PowerPoint.
All right, thanks, Robin. Thanks for that demo. So, let's wrap it up before we open up for questions. We just wanted to highlight, the recent awards that we received this year and last year for ease of use as a document management system. These were based on reviews from our customers on leading software review platforms. So just want to highlight that. And then on the next slide, I would also like to highlight a testimonial from the case study that's available in the handout section. So next slide, please. You can see this is a quote from Nicole Bowtie. She's a town clerk of the town of Windham in New Hampshire, and she uses DocuWare for her office to, store the high volume of paperwork that they, need to process to run their town. So they love the ease of use of the system. They find records instantaneously. They're not spending days just filing and searching for papers. And she definitely says, you don't have to digitize everything all at once. You can do it, piece by piece, one department or process at a time. So that's always great to hear from our customers. And with that, now I'll open up for questions in the question box. I realize we're at the 30-minute